Hey Nashvillians, welcome to the You Matter Nashville podcast, the place where every story we share is a celebration of you, the heartbeat of our community. I'm Jason Hoover, delighted to be one half of your hosting duo.
And I'm Mindy Hoover, joining you alongside Jason to bring you the stories of inspiring individuals and unsung heroes making a positive impact right here in our hometown.
Every episode is about passions, dreams, and actions that stitch together the Middle Tennessee community.
So if you're looking to get inspired by the good happening around us, or if you want to hear from the change makers who believe, just like us, that you matter, then hit that follow button on your favorite podcast platform.
And if you are looking to make a move in the Middle Tennessee area, Mindy and I are real estate professionals and would be honored to serve you with excellence.
Now, let's dive into another episode of You Matter Nashville.
Welcome to You Matter Nashville. I'm Jason Hoover, along with my beautiful wife, Mindy. Today, we are sitting down with Tash Weddle. She is the powerhouse behind the New Beginning Center right here in Nashville. Tash is actually a master strength coach who has served with big-name universities like Tennessee, Purdue, and Vanderbilt. Her mission is to empower low-income women through holistic fitness, nutrition, and mindset coaching. Since 2011, New Beginnings has supported over 4,500 women, giving them more than strength, but also confidence, community, and life transformation. Tash, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Tash, most people recognize you for your coaching career. What was the spark that led you to start a nonprofit focused on unserved women?
Well, it's an interesting story in that all along my college coaching career, I would coach general population clients. I had spent 17 years in the collegiate coaching realm, and honestly, it's a very male-dominated field. And as a woman, I just didn't feel like I was going to progress any further, and nor was I going to retire in that job either. So one of my general population clients that I trained was Chris McCarthy, and she was the Habitat for Humanity CEO. And she was the one who suggested that I take my skills and help those who would never have had the opportunity to have that experience, because she herself had a great transformation and realized how life-changing that could be. And I said, you know, that sounds like a phenomenal idea. Let's do it.
I love it. You know, and it is such an expensive thing. I mean, if you're having a hard enough time paying your bills and getting everything done every month to fit that extra expense, I mean, it might as well be $1 million a month. You know, I mean,
Right.
it's just not feasible. And for women, it's pretty daunting unless you grew up in sports and you were put in that gym by a coach when you were younger and growing up. Just the thought of going to a gym and knowing how to use all the equipment and doing it correctly is so daunting. So, I mean, I applaud you for that. So how, like Jason was saying, how did you get started in, and how did you know what areas you were wanting to reach these women in? Like areas like.
Yeah. So we actually started a pilot group while I was still at Vanderbilt. And we went to Habitat homeowners because those are the ideal clients, right? Willing to put in sweat equity to own a home and take that next step. And so they did great. We had a phenomenal group of 4. Then we did another group out of St. Louis Community House of 5. And so then word started just getting out. And so now today, we're serving hundreds of women a year, and it's a lot of physicians, word of mouth, and then other nonprofits who serve that same population.
So with the when you first started, and we all go through building businesses like you built businesses, Mindy and I, and people that are listening. There's always that point of you're trying to figure out how do I actually get this into play? Like you got the idea, you got the concept. And you've got that mission that you want to accomplish. What was that point where you're like, yes, this is how we need to structure the New Beginnings Center. These are the people that we want to go after and that we can help.
You mean the clientele?
Correct.
I mean, to me, it was just women who had the willingness.
Okay.
That would show up and were willing to get out of their comfort zone too, because it's a very scary thing. It was, I mean, I had worked with college athletes and on the wealthier side of my general population clients for a long time. And, where I come from, in a very small town in rural Indiana, well, those are the people I'm helping are the people that are working the paycheck to paycheck jobs and who are taking care of everybody else but themselves.
So, did you, in your career, did you face some obstacles like injuries or reoccurring problems like that?
With the clients?
No, you yourself.
Oh, absolutely. So I made the Indiana Kentucky All-Star team, and that was like a dream of mine since sixth grade. But then I tore my ACL 2 weeks before that game and chose to play in it anyway, and then came out with another injury, and then had reconstruction surgery before I went to NC State to play basketball. And so I redshirted my first year, and then I came back and had another knee injury, and then 6 weeks later another knee injury. And so, lots of knee injuries, 7 surgeries all through college, and that's really why I became a strength coach. Is I spent a lot of time in the weight room on my own, just trying to find that advantage of how can I get back, how can I gain that speed and strength back to get back to where I want to be.
All right. So, I mean, was a lot of that, just growing up and doing so many sports, was it just doing too much, or do you think it was a lack of strength training as you were growing?
That's a great question. I specialized at an early age in basketball, so it could have been that I didn't play enough different sports, right? But I also, back in the 90s, late 80s, 90s, the strength coaches that they had, if we had one at all, at the high school level, probably wasn't what they are now. I know they were.
Right.
And so from a balanced training standpoint, that wasn't there. But I think it's just, a lot of women in those, especially still, a lot of women blow their knees out, and so it's just bad luck.
It is. My son has a friend that goes to youth group with him. She's had 3 surgeries, and they just finished 10th grade. And soccer, it's just repetitive soccer, playing so much soccer. And those girls, they're like beasts out there, but man, they're literally going until they can't anymore.
Yeah.
I didn't play collegiate sport. I'd hoped to, but I wasn't as good as the D1, D2. I quickly realized that was not my career path, but I love college sports. It's actually my favorite. I don't follow pro too much on anything, and you see the injuries that happen. I'm a baseball guy, but you see different injuries that happen, especially if you're dealing with pitchers. It's usually they're having Tommy John or something along that lines. Your outfielders are usually like hamstrings. So all of that you worked on yourself, and it helped you understand what causes it and how to protect yourself from being injured. And you've been taking that and helping others in the New Beginnings Center. Is that correct?
Yeah. And in our social enterprise, TNB Fitness.
Okay. Yeah. So that's perfect. Let's share with the audience the 2 different ones, and what kind of give them a rundown.
Okay. So there are 2 separate businesses. They both happen out of the same facility. In the morning hours, it's TNB Fitness, which is a for-profit, and it's market rate personal training. So women who can afford to pay to train, and they're both women's only, but women who can afford training come and train, and 25% of what they pay each month goes to help women in the nonprofit side, which those classes happen basically from noon through the late afternoon. And so, we have about 90 clients right now on TNB Fitness, maybe room for 10 more. So we're getting there. And so, it's just nothing else like either one of these businesses. There are no other women's gyms in Nashville. And when I say we're a gym, we're a real gym. We're not just an empty space that's designated for the women in a big box gym. We're really training on both sides. We are progressing safely. Everybody walks in with some kind of pre-existing aches or pain or injury, and we're working around that for everybody to find a way for them to be successful.
That's awesome. And, and women are just, we're built different. The way our muscles are
Yeah.
built different. And so it's amazing that you can really specialize in that, and how your for-profit can then help take care of the nonprofit side, and you can kind of be self-sufficient that way. So that's
Right.
incredible. So people know that if you're going for personal training, you're also helping women in need that would literally never have that opportunity without their dollars going into the program. So I just want to reiterate that women are looking for an amazing opportunity with women who are specializing in women. You guys are where they need to be going to.
Yeah, it's amazing that they can get the experience. Because you've got a wealth of experience, as we kind of touched on just very little bit, but with then, it makes you feel better that if I'm going to a place, a gym, or working out, and you're literally taking a quarter of that and helping the others in that nonprofit. I think it's a brilliant idea. It's like it makes you start wondering, like, what other businesses could be like that?
Right. They could
Right.
be doing the same thing. Right.
Use the same space, so you're not having overhead on a whole different.
Right. You have a dual thing that's going on. And I think I've shared with you that I grew up as a theater kid, music kid, and never walked into a gym. I did grow up on a farm, so I climbed trees, I mountain biked, I did all those things. I was very fit as a kid. But when I moved to the city, I really didn't have those opportunities just to naturally grow strong and everything. And I didn't know how to do it. And so it wasn't until I actually got hurt, broke my shoulder, that I was forced to go into physical therapy, and I was forced to go into strength training to get my body back. And it was very daunting. It was scary the first time I went to a gym. It was mostly men. And, and you feel like everybody's staring at you, but they're not. But you feel that way. But just having someone there to guide, I was very fortunate to have somebody to guide me through and be able to, it was a woman that was on staff that really walked me through everything. And that was so important, because if I had to go in there and try to figure it out by those pictures, dear Lord,
Right.
it wouldn't have happened. I would have hurt myself. So it's
some of those things you don't know how to get on it.
Right. I just watched somebody else first. You're like watching to see how they do it. And then you're like, I'll just mimic that.
Right.
So you do nutrition as well. So, and I know you say you help them from the inside out. So could you elaborate a little bit on the nutrition piece of it?
Yeah, so we use a habit-based model. So we're building on one habit and then the next and then the next. Because if you give somebody one habit to work on, they're 80% likely to be successful. But as soon as you add a second thing or habit to work on, their success rate will drop to 20%. So it does require patience. And if you think about people who they just try to do an overhaul of what they're eating or their diet, and they try to make too much change too fast, which is usually why by the time the Super Bowl rolls around, everybody has fallen off of their New Year's resolutions. And it just requires a little more patience. And so, we roll out, a habit for each week for the first 6 weeks. And then we go back through and recycle again. And we go a little deeper into each habit. And we're helping women, what are your obstacles? Let's be solution finders, right? We don't expect perfection either. We just want to see progress. And then we look at what are the behaviors around that habit to make sure that you can be successful, because oftentimes nutrition coaching for most people comes down to systems and structures. If they have the systems and structures in place, then they will be able to have the food they need and when they need it, right? And be able to, make the right choice.
Now, do you guys work in conjunction with like food banks or any place to kind of help them get some of these more healthy options? Because I know once you go into health food, it gets a lot more expensive than grabbing a pack of hot dogs.
Yeah, we're not we've worked with not Green Door Gourmet. What is it? I'm not going to be able to think about it. National Food Project. So we've worked with National Food Project in the past a little bit, but we're currently not. And we've also had a CSA come to our location. But I will say that, right now we're actually working with Women from the Store. If you're familiar with that nonprofit, it's on 12 South. And it is a grocery store that is free for the entire year for those who need to come every other week. So those women are coming over to us. And so I have to be mindful when I'm talking about food and, what women have accessible to them and can afford. But you can, yes, it is it is expensive to eat healthy, but it's also expensive to eat unhealthy.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that could be an immediate today expense, or it could be the price you pay for the future, right? So we just try to find ways to, beans and rice are pretty inexpensive, and that's a complete
Yeah.
protein.
Hmm.
And so there are ways to do it. And so it's really too about how much can we displace of the fast food, convenience food with the real food, single ingredient foods. And so again, that comes down to systems. Is you're gonna have to cook a little bit for yourself if you're gonna eat healthy.
So I think fast food has really harmed us, as a nation, more than we truly can understand, or maybe more than what we're being told. Because eating healthy, fresh foods, it does affect your life. And it's like you're saying, it would cost you more in the long run in your health and in expenses as far as doctors, what have you, than it would initially. But at the same time, there's the people that you're serving, they can't afford it.
Right.
So
It's like a double-edged sword.
it is.
Yeah.
It really is.
My mom's an OT, and she had spoke to doctors. She mainly works with the older population, and I know that surgeons have always told her that they would rather work on someone who was 90 years old than someone who was in their 40s, because the type of food our generation has put in their bodies versus what a
Wow.
farmer who was 90 put in there. So like, it's just not even the same when they go in.
Yeah.
And that is 100% because of putting bad food into our bodies, convenient food into our bodies for years.
For sure.
So now you also do with the mindset coaching, which I think that's the habits, right? Or is that part of it, building the correct habits?
There are some other things we talk about, and just like understanding like self-sabotage, and we all set upper
Yes.
limits for ourselves. And then we also do vision boards, and we talk about how we actually have way more control over our destiny than we realize, but we sometimes give that power away by just labeling ourselves or self-doubt and things like that, and just trying to, remove those barriers that we set for ourselves.
Right. There's also a lot of just generational strongholds that are that are playing out as well. So it's how my mom did it. It's how my grandma did it. It's how we prepared food, and it's just the normal until you really don't understand. I mean, especially if there is a lot of obesity, just not connecting the two or knowing how to get out of it. Like you said, I think goal setting is probably one of the most important things. I love vision boards. Jason knows I love a good vision board, but just setting your sights on what you could be and visually seeing that is beautiful. I love that.
And not messing up a salad with bacon grease.
Bacon grease salad. That sounds amazing, but no.
So, back to the being able to eat healthy. They are at the mercy of of the food banks, and so I know there's that's one thing that we've talked about or talked with some of the people that do or that help with the
Like
the
Second Harvest
food outreach.
and,
Yeah, is that they are trying to get more fresh food,
fresh vegetables. Right. They work really hard to get a few, with every, I guess we say whenever they are giving away their food.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
and it's definitely not easy. So now one thing that you have is a scholarship, correct?
yes.
Can you share a little bit about that?
Well, so we go up to 100% of HUD housing limits. So for a woman who is single, if she makes less than $56,000 a year, she doesn't pay anything to come here.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because if you think about what we're offering, it's not low on the hierarchy of needs. It's not food, shelter, right? We're really targeting that woman who probably has a job, or maybe she's retired, but has contributed to society and just doesn't make a ton of money, which you think 56,000, that sounds like a lot, but in Nashville, what is it
Not
you have
anymore.
to make these days just to live? There's not going to
Yeah.
be any money left over for her to go do something like what we're providing. And then it goes up for each member of the household. But then if someone is slightly over that, then we have a sliding scale, because
Okay.
we just don't want cost to be a barrier ever. And so, we see it if a woman is recently getting a divorce and now her income is different, right? She needs it more than ever, right? So we're not going to want cost to be the barrier. To her.
I love it. I love it. And I'm a big person on sliding scales, and I hate the all or nothing, because the people in between really get lost. So I really do love that.
Yes.
So one thing I noticed is that you guys give participants some home exercise gear.
We do.
During this process?
We give them exercise bands and anchors and workouts that they can do with that. And then, so hoping that they'll continue that habit at home. It's very minimal in the sense of, but what you can do with a single exercise band is pretty amazing. I was training for my kettlebell cert when I went to Costa Rica for a vacation, and I just took a set of bands, and I was like, my gosh, these workouts were harder than the kettlebell workouts I was doing before. So.
One of my workouts that I've done, and I think I shared, I love rowing. I love kayaking, canoeing, just rowing in general. And one of the programs I did, we would row for 20 minutes, and then we'd get off and we'd do band work or free weights or whatever. But those bands, that rotation on your shoulders sometimes, oh my goodness, it's more of a workout than doing free weights. So it's like a new set of muscles that is being introduced when you use those bands. So I completely agree.
And the thing about bands, people think, oh, that's not fancy enough for me, but they have what's called variable resistance, which means they get harder because of the stretch of the band, where a normal free weight exercise would be easier. And what that means is that they're great for preventing injuries. They're great for older clients of starting them out. So you're less likely to be injured using bands.
Oh, that's good to
know. Now, we don't just use bands here. We have women, who are deadlifting and bench pressing and all the things, but they have to progress and earn the right to get there. We want to do it safely. And not everybody gets there, but everybody does get beyond from where they started. So.
Right.
Yeah.
I love that. And you're doing it safely too.
Yes.
Starting off small.
So what's next? What's next for New Beginnings?
If you'd asked me that question last year, we'd be talking about how we would like to expand into other locations like community centers and churches and libraries, which we are in some of those. We do have satellite locations in libraries and churches and family resource centers. And even possibly trying to go into rural areas. But right now, with fundraising and federal, we don't receive federal funding, but we're seeing some downstream cuts, and from corporations, we're seeing cuts. So it's like we're kind of just this year right now, we're just trying to improve the quality of what we serve, and to really try to keep these women engaged and progressing for an entire year. And collecting our data, and just how can we improve what we're already doing for this next year or two, and then we'll talk about expanding. I mean, and it's just, we're still a very small nonprofit. We serve hundreds of women a year, and we actually save money. I don't think there's a lot of nonprofits that can say they actually save money in future healthcare costs. But being so small, it's hard to go from what's called a micro level nonprofit to regional. Right. It's just all the pieces that have to be in place but we're starting to think about that. So.
Right. But you're also in a really weird place right now in the US when it comes to just the dollar and how far everybody can stretch it, corporations and individuals. So I think everyone's acting a little bit more conservatively. So I love that you're owning that and going, what can we do within ourselves right now until everything kind of picks back up? Yeah. So I think we've heard that from a lot of people going,
we have, yeah.
There's cuts everywhere. Well, what can we do just to keep trucking until we get through this barrier here? So now saying that, you guys do various things throughout the year to raise your funds as well as for your profit side. So I'd love to hear what you guys have scheduled, what you guys do continuously or annually to get that funding up.
So we do have two major fundraising events. Our Spirit of Wellness Luncheon is on October 2nd, and that will be at Hillwood Country Club this year. And we are having Candace Story-Lee, the Vanderbilt athletics director, will be our keynote speaker for that. And you also get to hear from some of our clients who've gone through the program and their experience about that as well. And then we have a bourbon and bubbles event, which I know it's like, what an oxymoron to have bourbon when you guys are all about health, but we say that we will do whatever we have to do to raise money. And so that's in the Nations at 1410 is where we had that last year and probably will again. And that's in the spring, Aprilish. And that's bourbon tasting and an auction, a live auction.
Oh, neat.
Got to get both sides, the luncheon people
Right.
and the bourbon
and
people.
Yep.
No kidding. Bourbon and bubbles. I like that. It's neat. So with the economy the way it is, and you're just trying to like you said, kind of refine, make things better. And I know you're kind of holding back, but long term, what's your vision?
My dream
Your dream.
Your dream.
would
What's
be
your dream board?
that every major city and even minor towns have a place for women to go to build that community with each other, to get strong together, to lift each other up, and receive that guidance and coaching and how to be strong, and to be taught that it's okay to be strong, right? And I say that because I just can't imagine, like, I grew up 70s and 80s, and had I seen my mom lifting weights, how that would have changed. I ended up in athletics anyway, but think of so many people. If you saw your mom get in that gym and like deadlift, how would your life have been different? Or if you saw her cooking healthy because she cared about getting stronger, not being skinny, getting stronger, how would that change your relationship around food and your body? And just to understand that women are the backbone, really, of our communities. They make a lot of the decisions in the house. They spend a lot of time with the children. They are shaping our futures. And I think it seems like, just fitness and nutrition. No, it's not just fitness and nutrition. It's life-changing, and it really is, from the inside out, life-changing. And
Cycle breaking.
Builds that self-confidence like nothing else. And I just think
that's what I was going to say. I'm sure it especially those that are having financial struggles, confidence is overwhelmingly, needed.
Yes.
And the hope, right? I live a very stressful life. Sometimes
yes.
I'm running two businesses, but like some days my workout is the only thing I really had true control over that day. And it was the highlight, right? I don't know what I'd do if I didn't have that.
Sure.
Just from somebody who has worked out about 5 or 6 days a week. And then I went through injury, still going through that and being limited. It really affects you. Like your endorphins, like you're used to that, getting up and working out every day. And then all of a sudden you don't. I feel the difference. So I completely get these women showing up and they've had a bad day or whatever else, and they go in and they work out. Like you said, you have control over what's going on in your life in that moment. You are building stronger. You are building that confidence. I just did that. It's like the only thing you're really doing for yourself, especially as a mom.
Yeah.
So I know I miss it. I can't wait
You'll be
until
back.
I'm able to get back to it. But I think it's so important. And I grew up in the 80s and 90s, with the Kate Moss and the just limit your diet. And if you pinch an inch, you're fat.
Right.
Like I can't even tell you how many times I heard that. Yeah. And, the anorexia era, going through that time period, it was literally don't work out because you'll look bulky and athletic.
Yeah.
You need to look bony. So I love that we were at a place in America where the athletic build is actually respected now. And like my daughter was able to grow up in a completely different era than I did. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's changed a lot. I think we just need to keep pushing for it. And like you said, equal opportunity, that anybody can do that, and not just the upper middle class and higher, because that's pretty much who's all been able to afford it. So I love it. I applaud what you do, and that you have big goals.
Thanks.
I think that's the most important thing we're both huge goal setters. So we respect that, and dreamers. So we're going to what's on that dream board? What can I do that's even better? So I love that.
Thanks.
So tell us, how can our audience get involved?
Yeah. So if you know of women who would benefit from the New Beginning Center, it's not a weight loss program. It's a health and fitness program, transformation opportunity. Spread the word about us. Just getting the word out. Donations are always welcome. Attend our fundraising events, or if you're a woman who's interested in wanting to be stronger, fitter, and healthier yourself, and would like to train at TNB Fitness, then check that out as well.
And are you looking for any strength coaches to help as well?
We are always looking for good coaches.
Okay.
We pay our coaches, but we want women. We really would like women coaches.
Sure.
Who,
I'm sure it makes them feel
who have the
more
passion for it, and I'd say like a lot of personal trainers in town don't get a chance to work with our population that we're serving.
Okay.
And so to have that opportunity, it's so fun. They're so fun and so grateful.
So how would a woman that this is of interest and can't afford it, how would she go about getting started?
And can afford it, or can't?
And can't. Sorry.
She would reach out to us at the New Beginning Center, www.thenewbeginningscenter.org, and fill out the questionnaire, and somebody will reach out to her and find out, what's her health like, what's her availability, which one of our 7 classes can she fit into, and just we'll get her going.
That easy.
Yeah. That is easy.
Perfect. I love it. I appreciate what you are doing in this community. It is very much needed.
Thank
It
you.
really is. And do you do rowing, by the way? Do y'all have rowing?
We have a rower.
A rower.
A rower.
We do some rowing
I
for our
asked because she was big on rowing.
Yep.
For quite some time. Well, this has been an absolute joy. It really has. And like I said earlier, I haven't heard of a business model like this. I'm sure there's some out there, but this is it's brilliant.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you made that major leap, because I'm sure that was a big time move.
Yeah.
For what going from the universities and taking this on. But I'm sure you are feeling the impact. I'm sure you have a lot of stories of women that you've helped, and those nourish your own soul.
Yeah, it's been worth it for sure.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, that is a wrap. So everybody that's listening, thank you very much for tuning in, and please go to thenewbeginningscenter.org, and we'll have that on the recording, so you can go to that link, and from there you can donate, you can volunteer. And are you able to sign up for the scholarship as well there, or is that more in-house?
So there is a calculator that someone can enter their income and household member number, and it will tell them if they owe anything or not.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
I love it. Okay. All right. Well, Tash, thank you so much for what you do.
Thank you.
And I love your heart. I love what you're doing in our community, and we'll dream with you that this will continue to grow. Right now in this economy, this is just a small road bump at the moment, and we'll get everything corrected. But I will believe with you that will reach and expand and help many, many more women, because it is needed. And everybody you impact, it's a ripple effect. It helps them, it helps their kids, helps everybody around them. So thank you for what you do. And everybody listening, thank you so much for tuning in to You Matter Nashville. And we love your support. We love you tuning in and sharing with us. And thank you also for sending us messages. So Mindy and I really love that, and hearing how things are impacting you. Also, we do these interviews based on recommendations. even this one, Milton Bradley referred us to you, right?
Yeah.
And we loved him as well.
Yes.
But anyway, thank you so much. Y'all have a great day, and we will be back next time. And that brings us to the end of another episode of You Matter Nashville.
We hope today's show has left you feeling as uplifted and inspired as we are. Remember, the spirit of Nashville lives in all of us, and every small act of kindness echoes throughout the community.
A huge thank you for listening and even being a part of our You Matter community. If you love this episode, please share with friends and leave us a 5-star review. It helps us reach more listeners and spread the love.
And if you know anyone that is looking to make a move to Middle Tennessee area, we are real estate professionals known as the Hoover Team, and we would be honored to serve them with excellence.
Until next time, keep making a difference, Nashville. You matter more than you know.